Hello Taurus, so I'm taking a look at what is going on for you for the week of July the 9th to the 16th. Also just a reminder as well that if you clock anybody stealing my content, then please do report them, okay? So we're having issues with these AI channels that are stealing my content, changing my voice to a robotic one, and then re-uploading it onto their channel. So please make sure that you're only watching my readings on my channels, which is Phoenix Keia Tarot. I do have a Taurus only channel as well, but I've not updated that one in a while, but it still says Phoenix Keia Tarot and then Taurus only. Okay, so my channels will always have my name connected to them. Okay, right, so your situation this week is inner alchemy. This one is all about your power within, okay? And it says seeing the gold within yourself helps others to see it within themselves. So as within, so without, right? How you feel about yourself is the energy that you put out into the world, either consciously or mostly subconsciously. But it's absolutely true, as within, so without. When you value yourself and you carry yourself in that way, others will start to look up to you and they will start to emulate your confidence and emulate what it is that you're doing. Okay, when you see the worth and the value and the gold within you, others, especially those who are spending the vast majority of their time around you, it will rub off on them, and then they will start to see like what their skills are, what their talents are, and do you know what I mean? They will start to see their own potential. So never underestimate the ripple effect that your energy can have on others, okay? I always say energy is contagious, for better or for worse. It definitely is, okay? Blue star. So this one says, you're guiding light through darkness, see beyond the illusions of the mind, and was that pilgrims and seekers of truth. So truth speakers, right? Probably speaking to a Tyrian collective who's got a very strong sense of fairness of what is right and wrong. Yeah. So something about this card here, Taurus, is indicating, and I'm sorry to sound cheesy, you're supposed to shine your light out to the rest of the world, okay, to help uplift the rest of everyone else. It's all to do with the collective consciousness and how your vibes, how things that you're doing every day is helping to contribute to the collective consciousness. I'm really sorry for that sounding cheesy, Taurus. I can't change the messages that come through for you, okay? I would be doing dishonor to spirit, to tarot, and to yourself, and I'm not going to do that, okay? So yeah, we just got to read the messages that you get. The Knight of Swords and the Three of Cups. Okay, that Knight of Swords is really interesting. I kind of feel like you've got a lot to say this week, Taurus, and you're accumulating quite the audience, okay? You might find as well this week that people in general are looking at you differently when you're speaking. They're hanging on to your every word. They're listening intently, okay? It's because of your communication style. It's very much no bullshit, okay? It's very direct. You're not one of these that typically uses like a lot of flowery language, okay? Where you feel it necessary to swear Some of you are going to go for it because it's within context. Do you know what I mean? It's raw, it's real, it's direct, it's straight to the point. And people love that. They love the realness. Okay, that's why they're hanging on to every word that you're saying. There's also a message. I'm surprised that the Hermit hasn't come out, actually, because there's a very wise energy to this one this week. What is that Knight of Swords for Taurus, please? Okay, the Sun and the Ace of Wands. Now, these two have come out a little bit off center, right? I'm not too concerned about that. What it's indicating is it's going to take time for others to warm up to you, right? For the most part, though, you're getting, do you know what I mean? You're getting a lot of attention here. You've got people who are listening, who are really taking on board everything that you're saying. Others, it's going to take it's going to take a bit of a moment for them to warm up to you. Never be afraid of making other people feel uncomfortable, right? In this context, because it means that you're reaching them on a much deeper level than what they were expecting anybody to. Okay, especially when you're speaking truth. Okay, with Blue Star and the Knight of Swords. What's that thing they say when some people just prefer the comfortable lies over and above the uncomfortable truth? Well, it's important that you do keep delivering these uncomfortable truths this week, Taurus, because those who are being made to feel uncomfortable, number one, it's temporary, and number two, it's working, okay? It is working. The Knight of Swords, now this one has come out as scattered energy also, but it feels to be in direct conflict with these energies here, so I was right. Okay, and I gave you that message without even knowing what that card even was. So yeah, some people, they do need to be made uncomfortable because it's going to force them to introspect, right? Some people out there, they don't like to introspect. Why? It makes them uncomfortable. The Emperor with the Page of Swords, taking hard control here. And I feel with this Page of Swords, changing up your tactic ever so slightly. So you're delivering the same message, but you're delivering the same message, but you're packaging almost, if you like. Could be your tone of voice, right? Your packaging is slightly different for people like that. Not because you're trying to avoid making them uncomfortable, but it's because you're trying to avoid them just sort of brushing off everything that you say from the get-go. Okay, so yeah, striking that nice balance here, Taurus. I wish I could be more specific than that for you guys, but I'm looking at this energy and I'm like, yeah, that part of the message there is pretty much done with. We'll find out more as we keep pulling more cards, and we'll ask questions as we go through it as well, okay, where relevant. Love and light and act with care. So this is your catalytic energy. Respecting others' free will. That's a really interesting one, isn't it, Taurus, given the context of what we've just said, yeah? So this isn't about you being persuasive. This is about you making sure that what you say to the difficult group of people isn't just going to be entirely disregarded, either because of who you are or, you know, because of how they feel about what it is you're saying here. You might work within the spiritual community or within some sort of healing community as well. So yeah, being tactful is going to be everything, okay? And one of the ways that you can be tactful is through respecting the free will of others. Everyone heals in their own time, and you cannot save everyone. Yeah, Taurus, that's the catalyst, right? Similar situation here. Really wishing that you had a magic wand that you could just make everyone's problems go away, right? Obviously, that's not realistic, right? So here is understanding what you can and what you cannot do. Okay, and maneuvering yourself in such a way where it is respectful of course, your own free will, of others' free will, and with this understanding of, okay, there's only so much help that I can give here. Okay, can you tell us more about this catalyst? Act with care for Taurus. Okay, the moon has scattered energy, and the Six of Cups also is scattered energy. Feels to me like the catalyst here is some situation to do with the past where you were too late to either help someone or save someone. It feels like there's a bit of misplaced guilt that's going on here that could be hampering you somewhat. Okay, so let's take a deeper dive into that one. Can you tell us more about this catalyst? Okay, the Five of Swords, that feels like someone was their own worst enemy, and then yeah, it definitely is. This person was their own worst enemy, Taurus. Okay, so bear with me, because I'm not a psychic, I'm an intuitive, right? We read quite differently. I have to feel out the energies that's accompanying the messages that we're given. Now, obviously, because I'm not a psychic, I don't know if this person's still alive, right? Or if this is somebody that you, quote unquote, failed to save, and they ended up completely just destroying their lives, and things went from bad to worse for them, right? And then you carrying some kind of misplaced guilt surrounding that, right? They're saying here that, honestly, and I don't look into energies that is not live anyway, right? I've got to stick within my own strict ethics here. What I can tell you is they are, or were, their own worst enemy, okay? And the things that happened to them, which is now your present day catalyst for you feeling like you have to save everybody, right? They made their own decisions here. We can see that. We can see that the decisions that they made were really, really bad, and on occasion were absolutely ridiculous, right? Bear in mind, free will. They had their own free will. Okay, same as you, same as me. Same as the 4 cats in the room behind me, right? We all got free will. It's what we do with it that counts. Now we see that because there was an incident here that played out in such a way where this person either became lost to the world or lost to themselves forever, and then you carrying the misplaced guilt associated with that, is recognizing again what you're in control of and what is outside of your control. And other people's free will is outside of your control. Of course it is. This energy is coming out as being scattered because it's a haunting energy. Okay. Definitely past situation here. A secret, so it's not something that you typically talk about or talk about very frequently. It's not even something that you particularly want to remember. Okay. This week though, and I think that this could be to do with Mercury retrograde, I'm unsure on that. If you're feeling particularly sensitive this week, Taurus, You might want to look into that. The reason why I mentioned Mercury retrograde is because it can bring up issues of the past that do still haunt us, so that we can work through it. Okay, so it's not all about, do you know what I mean, exes coming back and wanting another shot and this, that and the next, and communications going awry. Yes, it can be those things as well, but it's do over energy. And the main thing that a lot of people tend to forget about that do-over energy is it's also about that deep inner work as well. So you might find yourself having a bit of a shadow work-esque type week, okay? Where clearly there is a new person or a new energy around you that is reminiscent of this catalytic energy, where you feel I've got to help that person, I've got to rescue that person, I've got to do this, that and the next for them. I must not allow them to repeat the same story that this person here ended up creating, right? You can be there, of course, you can be there, you can help them out in that regard, but there needs to be boundaries here, okay? That's why all this energy is scattered. Excuse me, a little bit of an internal hiccup there. But yeah, you're not in charge, especially where someone is or was determined to be their own worst enemy, okay? That there isn't anything really that you can do about that. So that's the catalyst energy. It's quite dark, quite deep. But yeah, just let it sit with you without becoming overwhelmed by it, okay? Blind spot. Ground your light, yeah. Let your soul shine. So find an anchor point to hold on to so that you can remain grounded in the present moment, okay? Especially when, you know, we've got like a heavy emotional and psychological situation here that's coming out of the cards, right? You're going to need to give yourself time. That pretty much goes without saying. You are feeling super, super sensitive to other people's energies. This is what's going on in your blind spot. So at some point this week, you might end up sitting there questioning, you know, why am I randomly feeling okay one minute and then the next minute I feel like I'm losing my ever-loving shit? And it's happening on the flip of a switch as well, right? It's because you're picking up on everyone else's energies, and everyone else right now, everything's heightened, right? Everyone's on edge, everyone's stressed, and you're soaking all of that up, Taurus, like a friggin' sponge, okay? So it's no wonder that this week you're going to be feeling emotionally dysregulated or emotionally out of sorts, and then these memories of the past start popping back up and you're like, the fuck is going on, right? Find an anchor point. That could be anything, okay? It could be keeping something in your hand, right? You'll see me regular on this channel. I usually keep this riverstone in my hand, right? That's my anchor point. When I can't find that, I'll just pick this up instead, right? It could be a place. It could be a part of your garden. It could be, I don't know, a quiet corner somewhere in your house, right? It could be another person, right? Other people can help to anchor us as well, for additional support, okay? Just be aware, because this is in your blind spot, so it's in your subconscious. Be aware that it's there so that you can bring it into your consciousness, so that you're consciously aware. I'm picking up on everyone else's energies right now. I'm feeling hypersensitive to everything because I got this going on, I've got that going on, all while I'm still trying to make sense of why I'm here, what I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm trying to process some like failure or perceived failure here. Okay, there's definitely misplaced guilt. That was not a failure on your part there, Taurus, at all. Okay, if you take nothing else away from this reading, if you take just one thing and nothing else, let it be that. Okay, you're not responsible for what happened there, not even remotely. Okay, look, when you look at the cards, even the cards are telling you there was nothing more that you could have done in that situation. You literally did everything that you could have done. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, people ultimately are still going to be people, and they're still going to make choices that we don't like, and they're still going to make choices that they cannot undo or take back, and that's that. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's time here for you now to shine your light into the world after you've grounded yourself. Okay, it also says anchor and ground your divine light in your heart. Okay, so that's how you truly feel. So anchor and ground your divine light in your heart. Yeah, let's clarify that one. Can you tell us more about ground your light for Taurus, please? Whoa. Okay. Let's take a look. Right, so you've got scattered energy that's coming out here. First, the Ace of Cups. It wanted to be in the reverse position, right? I don't know why they didn't just use the Three of Swords here. There's going to be a reason for it. I probably shouldn't question it, okay? That's coming out as grief. Okay? There's definitely ongoing processing of grief here. You've got the Two of Cups. These are not entirely in the upright position. The Two of Cups with the Lovers, the Five of Swords, and Strength. Okay. So, again, sounds cheesy. I really do apologize, Taurus. I am sorry, Taurus. Is literally saying you will get to the stage where you're feeling strong enough again, where you can trust yourself to love again or to fall in love again. Okay. Now, for some, that's going to be very meaningful, and for others, you're going to be like, ugh, that's the grossest thing I've heard all week. And to you people, I do apologize. Again, I can't. Do you know, I can't change the message up to be something else that it isn't. I mean, that's horrific karma in the first place, doing that, which is exactly why I don't do it. Okay, it's bad karma for you, bad karma for me. It just is what it is. Okay. So again, look at the cards, and you can see that that's exactly what it's telling you. Let your soul shine. Ground your light. Okay, Ace of Cups, that's like emotions being poured out, ongoing process of grief. Honor that, honor the grieving process that you're going through. Okay, and then we've got new energies that's coming in here, because again, it's in your subconscious, it's in your blind spot, right? It's right there. Having the strength and the courage to trust others again, to fall in love again, to be emotionally vulnerable with another again. So whatever the heck has happened here, Taurus, for all intent and purposes, that fucking destroyed you. So you've been going through this rebuilding process. And again, that's likely why you're feeling everything this week. Because it's almost like your feelings are coming back online again. Do you know what I mean? Okay. I do apologise for the screeching kids out in the street. While it is lovely that they are outside playing, out in the sunshine, and not stuck indoors, it does mean that noise is going to translate through to the microphone every so often. We're not going to get mad about it, okay? They're just kids being kids. The visionary. Okay, so this is what's working for you this week, Taurus, right? You're spiritually evolving and doors of opportunity will open. You're manifesting and breaking through barriers. So the barriers that you're breaking through are definitely emotional ones. Bear with me a minute, Taurus. Just need to grab my drink while I'm still explaining this to you, okay? Okay, so you are breaking through those emotional barriers, right? I feel, Taurus, that for the longest time, especially after this happened here, you might have shut yourself down deliberately, emotionally, because of the serious amount of grief that caused, right? So it's a defense mechanism, basically, where your walls have gone up and then like just refused point blank to let anybody get close to you. There was just a defense mechanism. It's completely understandable, okay? Now they're saying what's working for you is slowly, right? Don't rush this process, Taurus. Very, very important. Slowly, slowly, slowly start bringing those walls back down again. Keep your boundaries in place, because your boundaries are very, very different from these emotional walls. Okay, they are entirely different. So wall slowly comes down as your boundaries are being built. Replace the wall with boundaries, right? That's the visionary energy in this context. Can you tell us more for Taurus? Thank you. Yep. The Ace of Pentacles. A new way of living. Literally. Ace of Pentacles is a seed, okay? And a seed will only remain a seed unless you do something with it, okay? There's an opportunity here. What are you going to do with it, Taurus? It's entirely up to you what you do with it. But just please do keep in mind, with this seed, if you don't plant it, it's not going to grow. Okay? Can you tell us more for what is working? Thank you. Ace of Wands, another ace. Absolutely beautiful. You're getting all the aces that are coming out now, Taurus. Okay, Ace of Wands can be a passionate new beginning, can be a highly creative project that you're working on. A highly artistic project. This could also be about the act of being physically intimate with another person also, because it's quite a phallic symbol, okay? That's no secret. So again, take what resonates for you. But this is a fresh start. This is a fresh slate for you. That's what's working for you, Taurus, okay? Allow yourself this fresh start, because there's nothing better than having a fresh start, and you're entirely in control of it as well, Taurus. How this is likely going to play out, you've got a very high vibrational card coming out here with vibration, and it says keep your energy signature high. You're influenced by your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs, and how, oh gosh, what does that say? And how well you care for your body, okay? So taking care of your physical self, and then your mental, emotional, and spiritual self, and then all of those combined, you're going to be coming from a very, very high vibration indeed, okay? Can you tell us more for how this is likely going to play out for Taurus, please? Ten of Pentacles, the epitome of success, okay? Ten of Pentacles is one of the apex cards in tarot. This is what everybody is working towards in their life, okay? It's a secure future. It's a happy family situation. Okay, it's completion in all the right ways. Two of Swords, the Four of Cups, and a Knight of Cups. Okay, that's an interesting combination, Taurus, and I'll tell you for why. This here, with the Two of Swords and the Four of Cups, that's coming out as being old habits. Okay, old habits of not joining in with anything, old habits of maybe feeling bad or guilty for having fun. Okay, there's a blockage that's going on here emotionally that you're breaking free from, with that Knight of Cups being there as well. So you see how you've got this Ten of Pentacles and Knight of Cups are both bookending this energy here. It's kind of like Spirit saying, be warned, Taurus. Old habits, they typically tend to die hard, okay? So this is going to take a lot of practice. It's going to take maybe a new routine as well, and you being consistent, right? So obviously some days you're not going to feel very good at all. You might even feel like you've not made any progress at all. But looks can and often are very, very deceiving, okay? Because in actual fact, what you're ending up with is this Ten of Pentacles and the Knight of Cups, which is that emotional security, right? Again, the Ten of Pentacles is literally house, home, family, friends. It's everything that contributes to making your life a pleasurable experience, okay? It's the dogs and the white picket fence, and do you know what I mean? It's that kind of like happy ever after type vibe with the Ten of Pentacles, yeah? That's what you're looking at here. You mustn't allow these days where you have a bit of a wobble and feel like you failed, or like you're going backwards, or worse, not getting anywhere at all. Those days are just temporary, okay? Because the bigger picture is this Ten of Pentacles and Knight of Cups, where you genuinely start to feel trusting again, okay? Trusting in people again, trusting in yourself again. I think that's the main focus here, Taurus, is mending that relationship that you have with yourself, okay? Especially after carrying all of this misplaced guilt for such a long time as well, right? It is going to be a difficult habit to break, but again, with the repetition and the practice, you will get there. That's literally what this energy is telling you here, right? Strongest overall message, yeah. See, Justice in the upright position as your strongest overall message for the week, right? You don't have anything to feel bad or guilty or responsible for here. Justice in the upright position, you have not done anything wrong here, Taurus, okay? And you genuinely, now you need to start believing that, because it is true, okay? You might also want to take a look at your lower chakras. Again, not everybody believes in like the chakra system, and that's fine. I typically tend to approach the chakra system from more of like the psychological angle, okay? Because I find that's what works for me better. So you just got to find what works for you. So your lower chakras is going to be your red one, your root chakra, and your orange one, your sacral chakra, okay? So your first and your second chakras. That's kind of where all the action's at this week, Taurus, okay? So it's survival, sexuality, emotions. Yes, believe it or not, your sacral chakra is where your emotions are stored. That is not your heart chakra. That's to do with love and grief, okay? But we're looking at emotions and whether or not they are appropriate, right? Are the emotional responses that you're experiencing appropriate? because remember, it's misplaced guilt. Okay, of course that's going to be affecting your lower chakras there. So yeah, deals with pleasure can be blocked by guilt, and then your root chakra deals with survival and can be blocked by fear. Okay, again, finding that anchor point, staying grounded and in the present moment, not allowing things to get out of hand, especially when it comes down to emotions, right? So it's not allowing emotions to get out of hand, because guilt can do that. It really, really does. It fucks with you that way. Right, so let's take a look at a healing message for you. I have healing and guidance for Taurus. Thank you. Play. Ah, yes. Okay, play and shadow. Interesting. Play, shadow, and surrender. I'm going to give you the full healing message for this surrender one. Okay. These ones intuitively, play and shadow. Now, I kind of love this one for you, Taurus. Play in the shadows. Play in the shadows. It's a metaphor, obviously, for that inner work, that shadow work. Okay, play in the shadows. Making friends with past experiences that have contributed to this shadow energy. We all have shadow and light within us, okay? All of us. Who or what contributed to that internal shadow. Okay. It's really, really interesting when you start digging into that, because you will soon realize why you do certain things, why you respond in a certain way to these things. The answers within your own internal shadow. So have a play with that. Investigate that. Be curious about that. Okay. Right, let's take a look at surrender. Okay, so this one's a number 70. And it's connected with water energy. So again, emotions. Right, it says when we hear the word surrender being thrown around, yeah. Okay, I've just seen what it says there. It's very, very appropriate. Okay. We often hear the word surrender being thrown around in intentional communities, and rightfully so. This is one of the primary lessons that we're on earth to learn. It is also one of the most challenging. To surrender is to have our human nature take a back seat. This is not easy, and we can find ourselves saying, I know how I should look at this, but we struggle when it comes to actually embodying it and then putting it into practice. When we are working with larger concepts, it is important to break it down. Rather than embracing surrender like a mantra, enter into a dialogue with it. What does it mean? What does it look like? If you were to surrender, how would you feel? How would you move through life? How would your heart, soul, mind, and body feel? With the situation at hand, how would you engage differently? What are small things that you can do daily that hold a container for surrender? Consider journaling around these questions and sit with what this card means for you and how you can integrate it, okay? And then it's saying it is associated with polar bear energy. And it just says about like the evolution of polar bears and how the polar bears needed to evolve in order to adapt to their new environments. And then it goes on to say that sometimes to surrender, we must shapeshift. Polar bear reigns in its ecosystem, and it easily survives in the harshest climate in the world because it's surrendered to the environment. Okay, so it works with the environment rather than against it. And that's the perfect metaphor for what's going to be going on with you this week, Taurus. Okay, you're going to be working with the situations as they crop up rather than against them, or working with your own internal environment rather than against it. Okay. When we are struggling with our human nature, our need to control and know, invoke the spirit of polar bear to transmute the resistance and allow it to lead you into a personal evolution. Often the only thing standing in the way of our own power is our lack of willingness to see it manifested differently than what we had imagined. Okay. So keep an open mind, basically. And then it's also associated with willow. One of the most magical things about willow is that a fallen branch can regrow into a tree. It contains a growth hormone that creates rapid rooting. In fact, you can use willow in aiding other plants in growing. Willow is an ally of rooting where you are. So often we want to be elsewhere, living in a different place or doing different work. We are reaching, but sometimes we're not sure to what. It is often our resistance to our current environment that prevents us from moving on. Working with willow will allow you to root into your life, surrendering to what it is teaching you right now, and in turn holding space for new ventures and new growth. We can't get to where we want to be without being where we are. Okay, so again, it's like a fancy pants way of saying start now. Okay, you're on the first stepping stone. You can see the other stepping stones in front of you, so start now. And then it's associated with cryolite. Cryolite assists us in aligning our spiritual knowing with our logic, intelligence, and awareness. It represents a new consciousness. Oftentimes, when we have awakened to our deepest knowings, we begin to see all of the things in this world that are out of alignment. We want to be of benefit to others, and this earth can become disillusioned by all that is wrong. Cryolite's magic helps us to accept where we are, allowing us to become clear on where we want to go and how we can further that work. Sit with cryolite and ask it, where do I need to surrender that will allow both personal and widespread progress? And how can I hold space for this progress? Okay, so right now, Taurus, you are exactly where you're supposed to be. Okay, you are on track. Right, so let's take a look at one of these cheeky cards. Don't take this deck seriously, okay? It's just a little bit of light-hearted fun at the end of your reading. So, Taurus, your emergency affirmation for this week. I accept that no one is perfect except for me. Okay, that's your emergency affirmation. And yeah, that is what I have for you today. I genuinely hope that reading has been helpful. For personal reads with me, my website is phoenixkeiatarot.com. The link for that is in my description box below. If you wait until right at the very end as well, YouTube is going to recommend you one of your videos that you have definitely missed, okay? So yeah, keep a lookout for that one, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.